Welcome to IHIP News. Pumps, what you got?
Well, I just wanted to highlight for everyone the corruption, the unmitigated corruption going on in the Trump transition team. And I wanted to start by saying that Trump and his transition team are supposed to sign ethics agreements before they can completely unlock the transition. They're supposed to sign conflicts of interest waivers, and they're supposed to sign or they're supposed to reveal who the donors of the transition team are. Naturally, that hasn't been done. And here's why that struck me as odd. This motherfucker lies about everything. He has no qualms about lying, signing shit that says he's lying. Why wouldn't he sign these when he has no intention of following them? I just find that odd. Do you?
No, I am not shocked. I am not odd. This is a man who thinks the rules don't apply to him. So this surprises me zero. I have 10 years of seeing the way he operates.
But doesn't it, I guess what surprises me is that he just doesn't sign it with reckless abandon.
I think the trap we all fall into here is we apply integrity and normal person thinking to a mentally ill person. And we always get trapped in this. It surprises me zero. We just elected a convicted felon who instigated an insurrection to be president of the United States. That's why this presidency is historic. Not the reasons that Trump says it's historic. It's historic because we elected a criminal to be the president of the United States who has appointed a sex registry list to be his cabinet. So not signing a document, I'm not clutching my pearls over that. It doesn't surprise me one bit.
Okay, here's a question. Would it surprise you that within Trump world, all the advisors are fighting? There's a ton of infighting, and they're all threatening to sue each other. And Boris Epstein, his number one incel backer, handy dandy Gal Friday, he has been allegedly, and this is alleged by his other inner circle members, is allegedly selling access to Trump and influence to Trump for $100,000 a month. Now, does that surprise you?
No, none of this surprises me because I have been watching this closely for almost a decade. And I always go back to this, and I will always go back to this. At the final days of his first term, the person who had untethered access to the Oval Office was Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy. He went in there every day with these bullshit documents to try to overturn the election. He is an insane person. He didn't even go to the transfer of power. And then how do we greet him? Biden has a crackling fire. And they sit down because he's a decent institutionalist that cares about the institutions of America. Trump doesn't. And here's what everybody needs to wrap their head around. Tens of millions of Americans don't care either. And they're fine with this. They are completely fine with this because they've seen the same stuff that I've seen. And everybody can say, oh, well, they live in this news bubble and we live in this news bubble. I would argue I base the majority of my opinions and assumptions about Trump off of his own statements without any spin whatsoever.
Right. Straight from the horse's mouth.
I can hear him speak on Fox, on Breitbart, on MSNBC, on some podcast. It's all equally as dangerous, reckless, sinister, and insane. This is a guy that tried to bribe Zelensky. I mean, we could literally start talking about all the shit and the corruption that he's done, starting from the 80s to present day, and we would never end. I mean, this is a man before he ever came into politics that didn't pay his bills, and that wasn't disqualifying. So, of course, he's surrounded by morons, power grab, grifters. I mean, none of this surprises me in the least bit. This is what the majority of Americans voted for.
Well, it's interesting because I've also been reading that Elon Musk has not left Mar-a-Lago since the election except to do his little space stuff, and that he's living there, and that Trump is growing very tired of the competition that Elon presents and has told Elon in no uncertain terms, he's the big guy, Elon's the little guy. So we've been on breakup watch for a while. I find this fascinating because they both love power. I mean, Elon Musk is on Twitter 24/7. I was listening to a podcast where Sam Harris said Elon Musk is addicted to Twitter and he's addicted to ketamine. Look at the 24 hours that he tweets, and it's unbelievable. So Trump and Musk are tied for who can be up all night tweeting crazy shit. But so apparently him not leaving Mar-a-Lago and trying to steal the spotlight has created some friction down at the gaudiest country club in the history of the world.
I have a hot take here, and
Okay.
I've said this for a long time, and you know I've said this. I think Elon Musk is an addict.
Yes.
And I think Donald Trump is an addict. And I think Donald Trump, he says he's a teetotaler and he doesn't drink. I think he's on a cocktail of prescription drugs. And a lot of people think because narcotic comes from a doctor that they're not an addict. Both of these men are narcissists, and both of them are addicted to Twitter, and I believe both of them are addicted to drugs. This is my opinion. My husband's a recovering drug addict. This behavior, when you keep trying to apply normal person thinking to an addict, it always falls apart because these people are living in alternate realities. And then when you think about a drug addict, think about the people that surround them every single day on a daily basis. These are enablers. So we have drug addicts, literally, this is my opinion, running the country right now. And the situation with Elon and Donald Trump is Elon wasn't born in the United States, so he can never be president. But he's the richest man in the world. Now he wants more power. What is the most powerful position in the world? President of the United States. So he's sucking up to Trump to be as close to being president as he can. Donald Trump is the worst businessman in the world, trust fund baby. And as you always point out, bankrupts casinos, grifts these tennis shoes and Bibles and all this crap. He wants to be the richest man in the world. So they each envy something about one another, but this is going to crash and burn. This Doge office it's just, again, we're valuing people that think they're experts, that operate on hubris and narcissism. And this is going to spiral. This is a death spiral of all of the institutions and America being like a leader in democracy and all of these things. We're watching the death spiral in real time because I believe, and this is an opinion piece, I think they're both addicts.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard the rationale that was given by Sam Harris on the podcast, it made a lot of sense. But I also just want to point out just going back to the petty part. Matt Gaetz is now on Cameo for $525. And guess who else just joined Cameo? Lauren Boebert.
I mean, this Republican Party is what we have to use now is they are who they are. They are the clown show. The argument now becomes to Americans, don't tell me you give a shit about the economy and policy and having family values when you vote for a complete piece of shit sex registry, toxic enabling group of people. You've lost all credibility. I'm not going to listen to one thing you say. It's kind of like when I have to talk to somebody about religion and they tell me they believe the earth is 6,000 years old. I immediately know I'm not going to continue the conversation because I don't argue facts. So the general public that continues to put these people into power, the focus needs to be, why are you allowing a sex registry administration from a career con man who drove the economy into the ground his first term, why are you giving him credibility? What is that about you? What mirror does this reflect back to you? Because when I look at Trumpism, I don't see any reflection of anything I relate to at all. They're hypocrites. They're grifters. I think a lot of them are drug addicts. I think it's safe to say that Matt Gaetz is probably a drug addict. And I have empathy for addiction. It's something I hope they all go to rehab and get help. But I mean, it really didn't change. I remember when Rush Limbaugh went to rehab, he still came out a dick. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think we have like broken, toxic, mentally unstable people. You know, this should be a family week meeting at a rehab facility, all of these people. You know, right. I mean, that's how insane they are. And so I'm 0% shocked at any of this. Does it surprise me that Matt Gaetz is on Cameo? No. Does it bother me? No. I really don't give a shit. I'm more concerned about tens of millions of Americans that thought we're going to let Donald Trump pick Matt Gaetz,
right,
who bangs it out with 17-year-olds, which is a crime. All the while, these people talk about family values. And now he's just appointed, Trump, to the Secretary of the Navy, a billionaire who has never served in the Navy, who threw some fundraiser for Trump in Aspen. And his big thing is he likes to collect art from Picasso and Basquiat. And so I want to say to all these middle Americans and these, well, you know, my husband and I, we just vote for Trump. We really like that tax policy. We really like the economic policy. Are you serious? Do you think this guy, this billionaire that has a $40 million compound in Aspen gives a fuck about your rural life in America and making sure that you have health care? Do you think he gives a shit about people blowing up kids in school? Do you think he understands what it's like to be young and Black in America and the uphill battle that you have to climb to even be recognized? It's just, this is just complete moral collapse of this country. And it has exposed all of these people for the hypocrites that they've always been. Their vote for Trump. If some white dude or some white lady says to me, oh yeah, I voted for Trump 3 times because I really like his policy, my response would be, I'm so glad that you tripled down on your hypocrisy just to make sure everybody was sure that you're full of shit. That's my response to these people. They're fucking full of shit, all of them.
I'd love to argue that point, the moral collapse of America, but it's hard in this position watching how it's going down with all the corruption and all of the dysfunction and chaos to think this is not going to end badly. But what do I know?
I know, we're just dumbass podcasters.
Yep.
All right, guys, we'll see you later. It's so entertaining. Tap the vein. So good.